Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Automate Your Success, the show where we talk about how you can build your own online store using platforms as a third-party independent distributor to make money in the background while you live the life of your dreams. We've got Brandon and Brandon in the house. How you gentlemen doing today?
What's up, Pat?
We're doing good.
Doing well myself. These knuckleheads have dealt with some serious struggles to get where they are, and now they are powerhouses, even a part of the powerhouse mastermind with the biggest names in the industry, Josh Snow, Los Hustle, and I mean, you guys are dominating. Let's just be real. But it wasn't always this way. And I think that sometimes when we get online and we see the cars and we see the flashy stuff and we see all the fun shit that we're doing out in Scottsdale or in Wisconsin or wherever we are doing business, people get maybe the wrong idea of how hard you actually work. And so, Brandon, you were telling me a story when we met in Pittsburgh about Brandon on the right side of the screen, by the way, for all you guys watching. Our social media master will have their names on the screen here. But realistically, I mean, you dealt with a lot of shit coming up in the game doing car work. So can you tell that story for people that maybe don't know you about what you had to go through to learn business and to get to the expertise level that you're at today?
Yeah, that's a great story, Pat. I don't really talk about it too much. I don't want people to feel bad for me or anything like that. But, back when I started my automotive customization business, I started out doing window tinting out of my house. And I got it to a point where I wanted to get an actual like brick and mortar store and get it out of my house. I figured I'd gain more business by doing that. And so I went and looked at a space that was available. And, when I looked at it, I thought this would be really good, but I was going to think about it. Like, am I ready for that? And so I went home that night, and during the middle of the night, my house burned down, lost all my tools, lost all my material. And I was like, well, shit, now it's going to be now or never, and so I took that opportunity to rent that space and just kind of never looked back, stayed consistent, showing up every day, doing what I do. And, it led to a lot of great things and meeting a lot of great people. And that's kind of, how I went from that.
It's crazy stuff. And so when you're in that kind of a position and everybody I've met that's at a high level has dealt with something like that. I don't know whether it's homelessness. I have friends who dropped out of high school and were homeless that now run, the biggest virtual training systems on the planet that have Tony Robbins as clients. I mean, it's incredible to see how far people come when they're down that low. I mean, your house burning down, let's be honest, I hate to laugh about it, but that is the absolute worst fucking possible thing that can happen.
It really is. I
don't know what's worse than that.
I never wish anybody has a fire. When you lose everything you own, it's pretty tough. I mean, I lost my car, lost all my clothes, literally everything I had. So, luckily I had insurance and they were able to get me, money right away so I could go buy a new car, so I could, show up for work. And, it was basically sink or swim, right? Like, was I going to let that defeat me and what I spent the past year, like, trying to achieve? No, I had to get my shit together. I seen a quote the other day. It said, what was that quote Dan Fleischman had? It said, or Cody, your buddy Cody Sperber put. He's like, I got my down and out story too, but he's like, so what? Suck it up. Nobody cares. Work harder.
That's the truth.
And like at the time, I didn't really think about it like that. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Yeah, my house burned down. So what? Still got to work. Still got bills. The bills don't stop. So I had to do something, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, when you're just that determined, you're gonna push through the worst. We've been in situations like that in many situations.
Well, and I was gonna say that too, Brandon. We got Brandon G on the left here. So you were like a professional snowmobile. I would never ride a snowmobile. Anybody who knows me knows I would die in like 5 minutes. So I don't do that kind of shit. But like, you were a snowmobile racer, correct?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Explain how that went. And you had an injury that pretty much ended your career, correct?
Oh, it wasn't an injury. It could have been a big injury, but I totaled some equipment out. And there's not much time between rounds to turn a pile of scrap metal into something workable again. And I can remember back to when I was up in Canada, we had a truck breakdown, got in a wreck on the race sled on like the first day of the event. So I was stranded in Canada, had a totaled snowmobile. I had a turnaround, 18-hour drive back across the country to put it back together and then be back at another place on that Friday morning. So I went through all that after getting stranded in Canada, broken truck, totaled the sled, got to hang out at BRP and have them help me try to fix what we could, truck everything across the country, get stuck in a snowstorm, stay in a hotel, halfway home, blew another day. Grandfather passed away, going to a funeral on Thursday. It's like, how could my week get any worse? And Brandon, as me, I made everything work as possible. No matter what I had to do, if I didn't sleep for nights on end, I'd make it to everything I was committed to. And by that Friday, I showed up at that racetrack and I took my first professional podium that weekend. So no matter how determined I was, you had to push through the worst.
Right. And so now I kind of want to connect the dots a little bit because you dealt with that and it was frustrating and depressing. And then Brandon, you dealt with this burning of your home and this losing everything. How did you guys turn that into what you're doing now? When did you guys make the decision that, hey, listen, we want to do something that runs in the background while we enjoy all these things that we love to do, because we're still stuck in the gears right now. There's no automation. There's no delegation. We need to build something that we can run that's producing the kind of income that we can earn to live the kind of lifestyle that we want to live.
Yeah. At that time, my mindset really wasn't there, for that kind of thing. I was just trying to live day to day, make sure my bills were covered, go enjoy myself a little bit, but every day that I went home, I was always researching things, seeing what other people are doing. Like, what can I do? Like, figure out what I can do. Right. And it probably took another year or two before I really started to figure that out. And the biggest thing that changed my course is I took my family to Disney a couple years ago, and then we went to Miami because there was a big snowstorm back here. So we stayed down in Miami. And, when you see the lifestyle that, some of these other people live in, they're out enjoying the day versus being stuck in an office. It's like, what the hell am I doing wrong? I was putting in so many hours a day. Like, you can't tell me that these people are outworking me. I'm here at work every day, all day, 7 days a week. Like, what am I doing wrong? Well, number one, I wasn't around the right people, and around this time is when I think that was when I signed up for Instagram, and I started following people I knew. And then I started seeing people comment on their stuff. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Who's that? So I started following all these people and watching all these people. And as I kind of started to see the success they were having, I started reaching out because I'm a very outgoing person. I was like, hey, what about this or what about that? And, I reached out to a lot of different people and started gaining all this knowledge and making all these connections. And then the really big thing that I think took it next level is Brandon invited me on a trip down to Arizona. And we connected in person with some of the people that I had been reaching out to. And we just over time developed those into relationships that, now we can utilize in business by having those connections. So once I started to put all that together, I really started to learn what it is I wanted. How can we make income without putting in work 24 hours a day? And that's kind of what led me, and I think him, on this path, because 10 years ago, we didn't know each other really. We met while we were racing RC cars.
Right around the time your house would have burned down.
Yeah.
I remember the first shop, and I remember going there and seeing it, and this guy's got something going on here, but it's like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just something small at that time.
Right.
But he was over by my shop every day talking to me every day.
That wasn't right away up front, but when I had a race shop and everything, he had a building right next to mine. So when I had some free time, man, I'm going to go check out what he's working on today, see what he's doing.
Well, and that's what happens is when you start to get around people that got something going on, you start to bounce ideas back and forth and realize how you can help each other. And then figure out where you can take that.
people always say, well, you're the, like you always say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 4 or 5 people you hang out with, you hang out with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th. Or if you hang out with 5 people, you're going to be the average of those 5 people. So look at who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
I think that is like one of the truest things that you can possibly imagine, because if you're, for example, him coming around me, okay, he's asking me questions. He's, we're bouncing ideas off each other because we were talking to each other. If you're around the right people, you're going to talk, things are going to come up. And if you're somebody that wants something and wants more success, you're going to start learning to ask the right questions, because you're not going to want to be the guy in the group that, is the outsider. You're going to want to be like those other people in your group.
Right. And the other thing about that is, with the ability now to find people online on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, you're able to, when you start to zero in on what you want, what your niche is, what your clients look like as far as who you want to be working with or who qualifies. There's qualifications to launch a store with you guys. We covered that in a lot of Q&A sessions that are being published or are published on the pages now for people to check out. If you go to the Automate Your Success pages, you can see those. And so, there are requirements and just bottom lines that need to be met to be able to launch a successful store on Amazon or Walmart or, CBD channels or any of this kind of stuff. And what it comes down to is when you get to a certain level, there is a certain level of expectation from the people that you're dealing with to even be around those people. Because it's like you said, people that are at high levels expect a high level result from anyone who's providing them a service. And to get into those rooms and to get around those people, you really want to make sure that you have the qualification or the skill level to be able to produce at a high level what those people expect and what they're used to. Like you said, like Cody, when we introduced him, or I introduced him on stage, that place was lit up. I've been doing that shit for 20 years. Of course they were lit up. I expected them to be lit up. And so, when he gets up there and he does his thing, it's fired up. He should expect that anytime he shows up at an event and he sees that I'm on the microphone every single time. Dude, you got to get that guy. You got to get that guy. And I think that word of mouth, Facebook ads and all the kind of marketing and traffic and all that for sales is great. But word of mouth and building relationships and trust go a long, 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 long way, because you never know who could find you the biggest deal ever just based on the fact that they like you.
I tell Brandon all the time, like, you never know who that knows someone, right? Just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean somebody that doesn't know somebody else.
Yep.
That might be a good fit for both of you.
And one thing we really zeroed in on is building a relationship with people that we first meet. And that's what separates us from a lot of people, I think, for us to be accelerating through this industry so fast.
We know how to work with people on a personal level and a business level, and when you can do both, like, why wouldn't you want to work with your friends? And like, I don't ever brag stuff up, but like, we a lot of the connections we have are just because people like us as people, and because of that, they believe in what we're doing and they want to be a part of what we're doing. And I tell people all the time, in the Walmart and Amazon automation space, we're not the only guys that do it, but at the end of the day, you need to work with who you feel comfortable working with. And so I think by us being so relatable to everybody, that we're just regular guys, we're not up here above everybody else. We don't talk bad about other people or anything like that. I think all those things combined really help to get us where we're at.
Well, and I think the other thing is that you're willing to invest in your network too. You guys spend a lot of money on personal development, on masterminds. We all went out and had a great time with a lot of people that are in these high level groups, and everybody had fun. I had fun, and I was just the camera guy drinking Fiji water that night. But the moral of the story is, when you can create an environment to where everyone is included, people, it's like a magnet. Like when we were rolling around with some people that were, your clients and your customers and mastermind members, you could tell that like almost the whole room was like shifting towards our area.
Oh yeah.
It was interesting because I was filming it and capturing it. So I think I noticed it.
Everywhere. Maybe is it not? Like
it was totally like that. Every single place we went was like that. And I know, because I was literally like filming the shots, and it was like a swarm.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be around this crew. That, man, they got something going on. It's just like you were saying about the garage. You can always tell when somebody's got something going on, because you can see stuff's just always happening, because they're continually putting in the work. And there's a frequency involved with that. There's a mindset involved with that, and people can feel that. And so, man, I'm all about that. Like, artist, energy, and like people can feel it, bro. But I really do think that that's true.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's totally true.
At a small scale, you always remember that old guy at the end of the block that's got the custom car he's working on. And as a kid, you're riding your bike down there all the time. It's no different now, just at a bigger level.
Yeah.
That's something that it gets your eye. I want to be involved with that.
Dude, it's awesome.
But,
It's awesome.
well, with that, like, you also have to be open enough to realize that those things are happening around you, because a lot of people go through life not paying attention to those things and miss all these opportunities because they're so set in their ways. And just, they don't know what they don't know. Right. And so they're just going through life kind of blindly, living day to day. They go to a job, they have that security. I don't like that security. I like the crazy shit. I like to take chances.
There's a lot of people out there that had huge opportunities put in their lap, and they just pushed it off, and they're like, I'm just going to stick on my train track.
Or even what you were just saying, Brandon, they didn't even realize that an opportunity to change their life came across their table, because they weren't even looking for it. They were oblivious. And so I think what you're saying also is there is a responsibility that you have when you're starting to level up, to make sure that you are, aware of where can I convert? Where can I build a relationship? Where can I turn this into? And when you put in the extra time and you go all the way and you're invested in your network and stuff, some people might look at that and be like, oh, you guys are just out there screwing around. No, dude, this is what it takes to build that trust and to build those relationships, going out and hanging out at dinner and creating one-on-one scenarios with experts. I mean, we had this dinner with Josh Snow that was phenomenal. He's probably one of the biggest people in the e-commerce space, if not, he's probably the biggest guy I've ever met outside of Fleischman and Sean Whalen. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
And Fleischman
super down to earth. Right. He was at the mastermind. Super down to earth, wanted to help, was like totally relatable. That's how those people are. And so I think that people out there that are just getting started, that might listen to this or might see this kind of stuff, might think, oh, well, that kind of stuff's out of my league, or you got to have millions of dollars, or I don't fit in. It's like, man, I'll tell you what, I played Grant Cardone's 10X GrowthCon when we could barely pay the rent in California, but I was able to go out there and provide him some value and earn it. I think that's the mindset you have to have. Nobody really cares. Like you said, no one cares. Everybody has a sob story, but if you're willing to say, I'm going to do the work and I'm going to change this, all kinds of opportunities are going to come your way, because people that have wealth and success and influence want to help someone that's willing to help themselves, not a whiner.
And with that, they got to realize what it is they want, because you have to ask the right questions, right?
Yep.
You don't ask the right questions in the right way, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right. And I think that, like you said, man, everybody's got their issues. People's houses burned down. You get a snowmobile accident. Didn't you fuck up your back or something too?
No, I had some stuff previously when I was younger with shoulders and stuff. And
okay. Well, that doesn't really help with a snowmobile career.
Yep. I ended his snowmobiling career.
Yeah.
I did it indirectly for him.
There you go.
Some funding that dropped out and stuff, and a few things happened. And I'm like, what am I going to do next with life?
Well,
in this little room downstairs where we're filming this today, and I'm like, I got to have something to work at and be the person at the bottom, and I want to work my way to the top. And that's what I've done in everything I've ever been in. I never was the guy on top with the most money. I came from nothing to get to be there. So that's what I'm doing at this process right now. I might not be at top yet, but we're going to be there.
Yeah. And that's the mentality to have. And when you bring something to the table and you're willing to help push other people up too, it's like you go up with them. And I think that, like I said, a whiny mindset says, oh, well, this is unfair and this sucks and this didn't go my way. And those things might be true. They probably are. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, What are you going to do to change it? Because that's what people are looking for.
Right.
I'm going to do this and this and this and this for you because I can't be in this situation anymore. And guess what? The guy who's now on Undercover Billionaire was like, man, I love that idea, man. Let's put you on. And I was like, yeah, I think he just said, yeah. Did everybody hear it? You said yes. Because I asked the right question. I was authentic. I was genuine. And I had a solution for my problem. And it wasn't necessarily that I had a problem. It's just that I needed to change the environment that I was using my skills in. I was just in the wrong environment. It wasn't a talent issue. It wasn't a marketing issue. It was an environment issue. And once I got around other business owners that had the sales and that had the experience and that had the influence, they loved the energy. They loved the talent. They loved the marketing. And, you know, here we are working with some of the biggest guys in the game now. Why? Because I asked the right questions and I gave them something up front. You got to put some skin in the game, whether it's money or time or effort or whatever that looks like for you. You got to figure that out. And those are questions you have to ask yourself.
You know, and we've had some success along the way, but you know, we're in no means at the top yet.
Yeah.
You know, like no matter how far you go, at least for me, and I think it's true for Brandon too, enough is never enough. You know, once we achieve what we're trying to do, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? You know, a lot of people would be satisfied where we're at and be living a great life. Well, guess what? This ain't where I want to be yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think always a chase, you know, no matter what you're in, if you're that type of person, you're in it for the chase. It's like hunting or any other sport. Yeah, you might get your personal best, but what's my next personal best? How can I build it to the next level? So no matter what, there's never an end zone, you know.
Well, and I think that that's a great way to look at it. And I think the best people in the game in any category are constantly improving. I was working out this morning and they had the little, the like 3 guys on ESPN that like talk back and forth, like pardon the interruption or whatever it was. And they're bantering back and forth. I guess Tim Tebow's coming back and he's 37 or whatever now. And one of the guys' arguments was, well, listen, Tom Brady's that age too.
Yeah.
Right.
So who knows? Maybe the guy comes back and crushes it. They start selling out in Jacksonville and he does a great job. Maybe he doesn't, but I think that to get those opportunities, there's a positioning aspect. Apparently he lives right down the street from his old college coach in Florida, Bristol Myers or whatever his name is.
Yeah, you know, they've been probably working on stuff.
Bristol Myers works for the Jacksonville Jaguars now. And so, you know, I mean, he's connected because he put in the work. And so he's now getting an opportunity that maybe other people might not get at that age. And it's quote unquote marketing. They're clearly talking about it. I haven't heard anything about the Jacksonville Jaguars in years.
Yeah.
So again, I think this is another example of this stuff.
Oh, I remember the Browns were they were really quiet and then they came out of nowhere too. So
the Browns.
I'm not a big football person. So
me either. But I thought that the marketing aspect of this guy continues to find a way to get people to talk about him and to get FaceTime and to get notoriety. And, you know, I wouldn't consider him statistically the best guy I've ever seen or the most exciting, but he continues to find a way. There's something to be said for people like that.
For sure.
And it's also marketability. Whether you like the guy or not, he's marketable. Tom Brady, some people just hate him because he wins all the time. Like it or not, there's marketability in that.
It's about winning still. At the end of the day, I don't care how much everybody hates him.
It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter if we're putting points on the board. And so I wanted to bring that up because I feel like the more you get up in any kind of level in life, you start to see people around you kind of change their tone a little bit sometimes.
Well, and everything you do, there's hate.
It's so interesting. And I'll tell you, I've never met a hater or somebody that fired shots off, especially at me. It's like, I'm not that big of a deal. So you're really wasting your time. But I've never seen someone that hated on anybody at that high level that I wanted to switch places with.
Right.
Gotcha. It's true.
Like I always think about like, you know, yeah, maybe they have a valid point or this is annoying or that's annoying. Maybe I agree with that, but like, who cares? Like, You're that focused on this other person's success, or they're getting FaceTime on ESPN, or this or that or the other thing, or Tebowing is bothering you, or Tom Brady isn't as good as Joe Montana. It's like you're clearly talking about their success. What does that say about your
We're
success?
sitting on the couch drinking a beer and eating chips, you know?
Right. I mean, we get on here, and anybody I talk about on these shows or interviews or anything I do, I'm giving them props, dude, because the more they win, the more I have an opportunity to get up there and as bases loaded and clean house, because people want me to win. I hang out with people that want me to win, period. And so I think that's the name of the game is whenever, you're sleeping on the floor and you want to be a 10X growth con, or your house burns down and you want to be making millions of dollars a year, or you smash your snowmobile and you got to work your way from the bottom up. The moral of the story is that the tunnel never really ends. You just continue to progress down your own journey.
Right.
And yeah, maybe you get more conversions, you get more sales, you meet high level people, you get into better circles and all that kind of stuff. But if you can keep the same mindset of, I want to learn, I want to grow, and I want to win, the possibilities are endless. Because if you can learn and you can be open to growth, people respond very well to that. I love to talk. Yeah. But I also love to talk and get somebody else to tell me what I need to do to be better. Yeah, so you learn how to utilize that. I love to talk to people superpower to get the information I need from someone who's better than me at something directly to my face so that I can make changes.
Right.
That's true. 100%.
You got to be willing to change.
The place isn't all tech, everything we do is a lot of technology, but at the end of the day, I still like to get on a phone call with people we work with and have a conversation.
Or even meet with people. I mean, we've met with a bunch of our clients already and wish it could do it more, but at the end of the day, the reality is we still got to be here, doing what it is we
maybe
do
we'll throw
business.
Some events.
But, anytime we travel, if we have a client nearby, we always make sure to go out of our way. Whether, one of our last clients we met when we were down in Orlando, he's a police officer. We met him out while he was, doing security at a bar at midnight, just to go spend 5 minutes with him, say hi, introduce ourselves, put a name to the face. That's the kind of stuff that we do when we travel.
Dude, and we went golfing with some new clients of yours and had so much fun that day.
Oh yeah, that was a blast.
Oh, I'm no better than you guys are.
Driver on the way, Pat. Watch out.
I'm no better than you guys at golf.
I take it by the nicest equipment.
I told Brandon. So one of my kids, he broke my driver, right? So I drove 2 hours to a different golf store, right, to go get this fixed. And so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get you fitted, or whatever." I hit that ball so straight that every ball that hit that screen came back to me right down the middle. I'm like, I'm talking to myself in my head right there. I'm like, why can't you just do this out on the golf course?
It's always different on the range.
Instead, I was hitting coyotes with the golf ball one after the other. Like, what the hell?
It's always different on the range.
Somebody in your backyard giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at getting in that head. Well, you're out left.
I think the whole issue is we had one too many drinks before we golfed.
I only had 2.
Yeah.
That wasn't my issue. I was just getting limber.
I was feeling pretty good.
You guys might have had a little bit of lingering stuff in your bloodstream from the night before, too. A little alcohol from the night before, too. You might have still been digesting some of that greatness.
Yeah.
We seem to find our way into it a little.
But with as much as those girls drink out of your bottle, who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe you were just tired.
Yeah.
Oh man. But that's good shit, guys. I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it's important for people to kind of get to know you guys and all of us as we progress down this road of putting ourselves out there, because it's 2021 and personal branding is very important, and putting yourself out there is very important. And I wouldn't necessarily consider you guys media dudes. This isn't what you're, salespeople and marketers and traffic generators. But I think it's such a great way for you to put yourself out there and to also get people to start asking you questions about, well, what can we do to make the shift? There could be some person who's, snowmobile or snowboard career is going down the tubes, or their car garage burned down, or they're ready to smash their guitar against the wall because they're tired of being broke, and they're ready to make a transition and use those skills to make some money, but they just need access to the right people.
Yeah,
For
we have
sure.
some retired pro athletes already that have come on board with us over the last year or two, and they love it. You know, they get to take away to invest what they made and turn it into something long term instead of just having that one time payout in life.
Right. And we see a lot of that. In fact, speaking of Dan Fleischman, he was just talking about that on a clip the other day too, of people that he's worked with, rappers, pro athletes, superstars. I mean, his agency's huge, and watching them go from, $80 million to bankrupt,
Right.
Mhm.
which is just nuts. And so if you can find something to put your money in, a vehicle that can produce you income, I mean, it's an amazing time to be alive because you can do it digitally now.
For sure.
Yeah, the social media has opened up a network of opportunity for people that might not have had the chance because they didn't know the circles, but they could follow the circles now and maybe break into them by
Yep.
showing that they have the will to do it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's super amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brandon and Brandon in the house. This is Automate Your Success, and we will catch you on the next one.